everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So I thought this article caught my eye recently with this general saying, it's not America versus America, but America's enemies and woke regime versus America. We all know who's part of that woke regime. One Harry and Meghan and Omen Scooby-Doo. So, of course, as usual, they're playing the victim card. Don't you love how they attack and make false accusations of racism and sick their BLM buddies, Fulani Ngozi, and attack every freedom of speech? And then they turn around and when they get their just desserts, even just a taste of what they deserve a lot more. They turn around, poor us, it's so cruel. Everyone's so cruel to us. It's racism, right? I mean, these wokesters, they're America's enemies. They're the West's enemies, really. So I was taking a look at Omid Scobie's Twitter account, which I don't do often because it gives me a headache. Gave me a headache today. The guy is just so crazy. But, there's this tweet, for example, that he just came out with on February 27th about Courtney Cox getting a star. And he writes, "Love this." Well, supposedly Omid wrote this. "Love this. Courtney Cox joined by Jennifer Aniston unveiling her star." It's like, what does Omid Scobie care if Courtney Cox gets a star on Hollywood? And most people don't really care or pay attention. But love this? What? Really? Nah, it sounds like a Megan tweet to me there. Unless Omid has a crush on Courtney Cox or something. I don't think so. So he tweets stuff like that makes you go, uh-huh, Megan. She's a stalker of Angelina Jolie. We all know Harry was obsessed with Jennifer Aniston. So apologies, I'm giving you a headache, but there's a tweet down here. I'm going to scroll to. According to Omid, it was so cruel that Harry and Meghan were ditched. Um, he writes some crazy things here. He's talking about how Harry's book was our fastest selling, and then his and Harry's books are the two fastest selling books, according. It's like, yeah, right, Harry, right, Omid. You wish. Here we go. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Apologies for the delay here. He's complaining about Jeremy Clarkson. Where's this article? It's January 10th. I'm almost there, almost there. Blah, blah, blah. Here we go. It's right there it is. Okay. Apologies for that. I got you dizzy. So going back to January 10th. Now, Omid does not retweet articles about Harry and Meghan very often. And here he didn't even retweet it. He took a screen capture of it to not alert them that he was tweeting them. So if he tweets something, a news article, it really bothers him, or it really bothers Harry and Meghan. So this article was called "Kidnapped by a Cult of Psychotherapy and Meghan." And look what Omid writes. He writes, "An unusually tabloid-style royal front page for The Independent. Former Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday editor-in-chief Geordie Greig, a close friend of Camilla, the Queen consort, was recently announced as the paper's new editor." Oh, clever Omid. Look how he phrased that. Like he's saying it without saying it. Very Megan-esque there. So basically, as you can gather from that without him saying it outright, or her saying it outright, is they're blaming Camilla for this tabloid-esque style cover of the Prince Harry kidnapped by cult of psychotherapy. So this burned Harry and Meghan. This article here really bothered them. So much so that they used Omid to put out, their PR boy here to put out that, oh, Don't you know that's Camilla's friend who put this tabloid on the front of the Independent? So I want to take a look at that. So this article we know is bothering them so much. You know we have to look at this article, even though we're going back a little bit last to January 10th. Okay, so here is the article. The Independent. Royals despair as Prince Harry kidnapped by cult of psychotherapy. Revealed. Sources say reconciliation, quote, impossible. As Charles, Camilla, and William fear anything they say to the Sussexes will be made public. A reconciliation with Prince Harry is impossible because the King, Queen Consort, and Prince William fear anything they say will be made public. A source close to the royal family said that King Camilla and William believe the situation will remain unchanged, while the Duke of Sussex remains effectively, quote, kidnapped by a cult of psychotherapy and Megain. Quote, they are trapped, said the source. They really can't engage because everything they say will be shared with the media. It is impossible to have a conversation or write a letter because of the risk that anything they say being put in the public domain by Harry potentially for commercial benefit. There has been a complete breakdown of trust. Now, you know I've been investigating the Nexium cult, and you've probably heard about Catherine Oxenberg when she was trying to get her daughter India out of the Nexium cult. Do you remember that? She had a hell of a time. Everybody does. Anyone or everybody who has a family member taken in by a cult, right? It's very difficult. You can't get them out. They've got a hold on them, whether they're using hypnosis or NLP. This is what Nexium used. It's really not as difficult to indoctrinate someone as you might think, and they had a hold on her on India, and Catherine Oxenberg had a hell of a time trying to get her out. Most people can't. Like, you can't send the police to like kidnap them out because they're adults, legal adults. They could charge you with kidnapping. They used to do that in the old days, right, in the mid 1900s, but that stopped. So now, you're not. That's breaking the law to try to kidnap your loved one from a cult. So you're really helpless to do anything. There's nothing you can do unless what Catherine Oxenberg did was because she's so powerful and connected in Hollywood media. She got everybody. She had to fight and fight and fight and do. And she did shows, and she was pushing the Department of Justice, and she got the New York Times to publish an article about the branding. Finally, that story broke, and finally, after that, the authorities investigated and prosecuted, and now the leader of Nexium and the leaders there are in prison. But it took a hell of a lot. It took years for Catherine to get her daughter back. And if she had that much difficulty getting her daughter back, imagine the average person. You can never, your loved one's lost. And even the royal family, this really is a similar situation with Harry. Harry had mental issues. He was on medications. Those medications do mess with your mind. Megan was messing with his medications from day one. Megan is with the Clinton cabal, with her criminal mother, Doria, and Oprah, and all the rest. And they all say, ooh, a royal, you got a royal. So, you got this whole group, like a cult around them, controlling him. There's no other way to look at it. You know that's going on. And there's nothing the royal family can do about it. And this is absolutely true. And that's why I think this article really stings home with Harry and Meghan, that Omid even tweets it, because it's true. And I don't know. That's why that people think this is going to be a really messy ending with Harry and Meghan, whatever happens, Meghan dumping him or whatever, because Harry is so far gone at this point, and Harry is seeing therapists out there, as you saw it in the Netflix. He's crossing his arms and doing whatever the eye movements. Yeah, who knows what's going on in his head? And you know what? Even if he does get out, it would take years and years and decades probably to get over all the brainwashing he's going into right now with Meghan. But anyways, Buckingham Palace has remained silent over the flurry of allegations made by Prince Harry in his memoir Spare and numerous television interviews. Despite claiming he was attacked by his brother and describing the Queen Consort as a villain, Harry has insisted he would like a relationship with his family. I would like to get my father back. I would like to have my brother back, Harry told ITV's Tom Bradbury, adding that he hoped that a reconciliation will have ripple effect across the entire world. Maybe that's lofty, maybe that's naive, whatever, but I genuinely feel that. Okay, so we got some serious problems here. Number one, he's calling Camilla a villain, right? So, and we know how he's been attacking her via the media people and the BLM contacts they have, the Flying Ngozi and the Lady Hussey thing going on. Um, Jeremy Clarkson and all that, and Piers Morgan, they've attacked and all that, and other people. They've gotten other journalists fired and whatnot. But really, that this hatred towards Camilla and villainizing her and trying to villainize her again. She's already villainized in the past, which Megan we know is 100% behind. But also the fact that Harry is attacking his family, saying, "My brother attacked me. My father never hugged me. They're so mean to me. They never liked Megan. Yeah, racist. Yeah." That he does all these attacking, and then he says, "I want a reconciliation. I want them back." It's like right then and there, you can see how crazy he is. He makes no sense. You write a book blasting them and accusing them of all this stuff. You go on Oprah and accuse them, and then you turn around and say, "But I want them back. I miss them. I want to reconcile." And on top of that craziness, he says that he thinks a reconciliation with his family will have a ripple effect across the entire world. He really believes that. So now he thinks it's put in his head that if he doesn't reconcile with his family, the world is going to be destroyed. It's over. Everything depends upon Harry reconciling. It affects the world. I mean, this is his grandiose, delusional, paranoid, deranged thinking going on here. Right? And you can see it. He makes no sense. He's whatever babbling, whatever nonsense is being put in his head. Or it's getting from Megan or whatnot. The Sussexes have also indicated they would like an atonement meeting. An atonement meeting, similar to the one held by Palace Aid to lose Lady Suzanne Hussey for charity boss and fraudster criminal BLM uh, propagandist or provocateur Ngozi Fulani, aka Marlene Headley. So that whole fake phony apology thing going on, and everybody ignored it, and Lady Hussey went back to work for Princess Anne. They want to do that, this like fake ridiculousness. But the King Charles, is understood to be adamant that there will be no form of apology to the Sussexes. Good job. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Yeah, I hope King Charles keeps it up. He's going to have to slap them around. Slap him once, slap him twice, and slap him again, Charles. They need it. They need it. The royal source said, quote, "They aren't going to apologize because they don't recognize Harry's version of events." Harry makes no sense. He sounds crazy. Everything he's doing is crazy. The source also likened Harry's removal to California and isolation from the rest of the family to joining a cult, a comparison likely to prove explosive. Quote, "He's been kidnapped by a cult of psychotherapy and Megain. It is impossible for him to return in these circumstances." So I'm wondering what's going on. They're bringing up the psychotherapy. There's something seriously wrong going on with that psychotherapy he's getting, as well as whatever Megan's putting in his coffee. You know what I mean? Harry and Meghan's unofficial biographer, Scooby Dooby Doo, on Monday predicted the couple would be sort of retreating from speaking out on personal issues for the rest of the year and acknowledged that any reconciliation is very difficult after the amount shared in his book. In addition to the prince's teenage drug taking and losing his virginity behind a pub, the book recounts violent arguments with his brother, Prince William, and frosty treatment of Meghan by the royals and palace leaks to the press via Meghan. In an interview with CBS on Monday, Harry referred to Camilla as the villain and, quote, dangerous when describing her image rehabilitation following Diana's death. Quote, "I don't look at her as an evil stepmother," he said. I see someone who married into this institution and has done everything that she can to improve her own reputation and her own image for her own sake. Gee, who does that sound like? So he's claiming or accusing Milla of doing exactly what Megan's done. Just saying. In his book, Harry wrote that William had asked to attend one of the sessions with a psychologist, worrying that Harry was being brainwashed. Wow. His strategy was obvious. I wasn't well, so I wasn't sane either, and that's why I was behaving questionably, the younger prince wrote. However, he previously credited William for encouraging him to get help for his mental health. Telling podcaster Brioni Gordon, my brother, bless him, he's a huge support to me. He kept saying it's not right, it's not normal, you need to talk to somebody about this stuff. Harry has also cited help from a California energy practitioner, John Amaral, whose work addresses fight or flight mode. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex were invited to respond to more remarks, and the Buckingham Palace spokesperson declined to comment. Wow. So it really looks like we're looking at Harry being very, very brainwashed here, and he recognizes it. See, that's how far gone he is he knows his brother is saying, it's not right. You're not acting sane, and Harry is just like, yeah, I know you think that way, but me and Megan don't, right? So what's going on here? And speaking of brainwashed word salad cult nonsense, look at this tweet that written by Scooby Dooby Doo that could have been written by Harry. On January 9th, he wrote, making the conscious decision to minimize or ignore unconscious bias after it has been called out is racism. Can you believe this crap? He's writing, making the conscious decision to minimize or ignore unconscious bias after it's been called out is racism. Called out by who, Omid? By Fulani Ngozi, the BLM fraudster? Marlene Headley? You mean her? Is she a psychologist, psychiatrist now with telepathic abilities to read your unconscious? And what are you supposed and how is it you would minimize? So, in other words, what Omid's saying here is that if he or Fulani tell you you're racist, you have to accept it or you're racist. Because if you ignore and minimize it, then you're a racist still. So no matter what you do, you're racist. Consciously, unconsciously, and consciously. And probably transhumanly as well. Spiritually. You're just racist. Okay, everyone's racist except them. They're perfect. They know everything. You should join the cult of Megan and you would know. You would understand this. Yeah. All right, so this is a very real problem of a family member in a cult. You can visit the Cult Institute by Rick Ross. He's a researcher, expert. There's thousands of cults out there. So I'm going to do a reading today of what the royal family can do to possibly get Harry out of the cult of Megan and psychotherapy. And let's see, can they do it? They might not be able to do it. I'm going to be using the Line Strider Tarot, beautiful tarot deck, where the images sort of look like Rorschach cards, but they're the tarot images. And the significator card for Harry here is this one, which I think is perfect for someone in a cult. And that you can see it's open, right? I mean, that this person could wiggle out of their ties there and walk forward and walk out, but they feel trapped, like they can't get out. You kind of got a little castle back there, like the palace. So we're wondering, how can the royal family get Harry out of this situation, of this cult? Obviously, they recognize that they're in one. That Harry does, because they had Omid tweet that article. It really bothered them. you know, it hit home. It hit home. It hit on something there for sure. So let's take a look. I'm doing a roundabout spread. It's like an astrology chart spread for each house. It's gonna be a card. So let's take a look here and what the royal family can do possibly get Harry out of the situation that he's in, this cult mind control situation that he's in. I've already shuffled the cards, so I'm going to split the deck. Let's see, can the royal family get him out? What can they do, if anything? Can they get him out? That's the question. Or is it too late? Megan dragged him thousands of miles away. Tough situation. All right. So, general situation right now. Knight of Swords. Wow. So this is a general situation for the royal family right now. They're fighting back, right? They've been attacking back in the media and also with the taking the frog more. They're in fight mode right now. They're like, enough is enough. Bam. They're angry. They're upset, naturally. Who wouldn't be? Harry has betrayed them. The entire country's upset, right? See if I can fit all these cards in here. Try to lift this up a little bit. There we go. It's a little better, maybe. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so very angry, very upset right now, but they want to act, they want to do something. So I think they're ready to do something. They're like they'll try anything right now. I mean, they're on the verge of that anyway. So what do they have? What resources can they draw upon? What do they have to work with as far as getting Harry back? Knight of Pentacles reversed. They're really limited in their ability. I mean, of course, they don't lack money. Naturally, we know that. But this is Knight of Pentacles. This is they can't reach him physically. He's so far away, and any communications they have with him are obviously Megan's going to be on the other line listening in. So they're dealing with a situation that is difficult to directly deal with. So I'm looking at it from the royal family perspective. So it's not like Prince William can, walk over there and talk to Harry, privately, right? So a lot of hurdles, a lot of stumbling blocks here, a lot of problems. And again, with a knight and a knight, we're talking that um, it's so contentious right now, and everything turns into everything, anything they say or do is weaponized against them. Like Lady Hussey asking, "Where are you from?" I mean, who could imagine that asking somebody, "Oh, where are you from?" will turn into this international incident and be accused of racism. I mean, that is how insane and crazy and deranged and fanatical and globalist powers behind this uh using the media to manipulate the public and public opinion and weaponizing that, making the hysteria. So they don't have much to work with. They're struggling to reach Harry. They can't communicate directly. It's very difficult, in what they say to him, and not only reaching him, but also his state of mind. And that they try to level with him, he'll turn it around and use it against him in his next book, right? So a lot of problems there. A lot of problems in what they're dealing with here. And this is the case for anyone with a family member that's in a cult. What can you do? You can't kidnap them. That's really the only thing you can try doing. You can hire a cult deprogrammer who can try, but first you have to get the person alone and away from the cult group, which is a hurdle in itself. But oftentimes family can manage to like encourage them to come home for someone's birthday or a holiday, and then they can sit down and sort of try to deprogram them a little bit, and that usually doesn't happen in one sitting. That takes multiple conversations, multiple sittings, hours and hours, and the person has to be willing to listen, not just walk out. So it's a very difficult situation. I mean, because now the royal family does have the coronation as a lure, and this is probably their one chance to be able to do that, possibly, or attempt to do that. But they wouldn't have any chance if like Megain's around, right? So they probably would want Harry alone, and maybe they try it. But I don't know. Let's see. Rick Ross, he's the expert. Check him out. Let's look next. What needs to be said, and what changes do they need to make to get what they want to try to help Harry escape? Ten of Wands. So I'm getting here two things. I kind of see a child here, so something with the children. Use saying, really, do you want to raise your children there? Or wouldn't you rather raise them here? It could be an impetus to return back. And or the Ten of Wands just shows not giving up, not stopping um, in your efforts to wake Harry up, to um, and also to just to keep working at what you're doing, which is what they are doing. So they need to keep doing their own work and not, obviously responding to their propagandists and who's inciting them constantly. I mean, Omid Scobie actually posted a tweet something about, oh, the royal family hasn't responded to Harry's book. That's unacceptable. I mean, Omid's writing this. It's like, excuse me? Hey, Scooby Doo with the bad plastic surgery. Who are you to demand the royal family do anything? I mean, this shows how arrogant, but again, Omid is a puppet of the globalists. So that's why he's on this power trip, because he has the Clinton cabal behind him with Meghan and Harry. So that's what gives him the chutzpah to sit there and say, "Oh, the royal family is not being acceptable. They need to respond," with this arrogance. See, this is a real power issues here. So I'm getting that, the advice here is what needs to change is to work harder at it, perhaps not stop what they're doing, not only their own work, but not give up on Harry. Because I think Harry is crying for help a little bit when he says, "I want my father back. I want my brother back." It's sort of like he's in this psychological mess in this black hole, but there's still a part of him that recognizes, like, I need them. I want them. I want my old life back. So he's getting there. There's a part of him that's still there. They haven't totally taken him over. They've only can control him to a certain extent. Um, the old Harry is still there. He's still there. Don't give up. He's still in there somewhere. That's why he makes no sense with what he's doing, right? It's because it's the Megan Harry and then it's the real Harry. Okay, so next, for the royal family, what's their secret support or reserve that will help them to get Harry back? King of Cups. Ba-boom. So William is the ticket more than anybody. It's up to William. It's on William. To get Harry back, William's the one that can do it. William's the one that can get through to Harry. As upset as Harry is and as jealous as he seems, I think Megan has made him that jealous, right? He wasn't always like that. I mean, all siblings compete with each other, but the brother's the one that loves him the most, and he knows that. So he's the one that can get Harry back. They'll keep Harry going. That will be able to do it. Yeah. He's the one person that Megan can't turn Harry against completely, even though she tries. Because, look how Megan treats her siblings. She's like, I don't have siblings. I don't have anything. And she's trying to convince Harry like he doesn't have any, but Harry does. And if Megan had a sibling near her age, she'd understand, but she doesn't. Because even though she has half siblings, they were much older than her, which is different than a sibling that's only a couple of years older than you. There's a big difference there, the age. She still has siblings. Don't get me wrong, and they did help raise her. But Harry and William are very close in age, and they both experienced their mother passing together and everything else that went with it, their whole lives. And Harry had dedicated his life to supporting his brother. So William is the key here for sure. So what do they need to have the courage to do? Or how can they get more support for getting Harry back? And I get strength reversed. They need to allow Harry and Meghan to sit. They need to sit back and watch Harry and Meghan burn themselves up. Like they say, you have to reach rock bottom. If you're an alcoholic, you have to hit rock bottom before you'll turn around. Like that royal family has to sit back and say, you know what? They got to hit rock bottom before we can help them. Don't enable them. Don't be an enabler, right? They're gonna have to watch. They're gonna have to sit back and have the painful watching of them, you know, possibly destroying themselves. They're getting really out of control. This is like being out of control with addictions and behaviors and whatnot. That they're gonna have the royal family's gonna have to sit back and wait for Harry to finally get to the point where he has to go home, right? Or he really has to get help. Details that they need to address. Some things they may possibly be avoiding. Nine of Swords reverse. Yeah, they need to address the craziness, the insanity going on, the mental health issues going on here. So of course, I'm sure they are conversing and knowledgeable, but making sure to be aware that everything they do or say to Harry is not only that he has mental health issues, but also they should talk to cult experts and find out, well, or like Catherine Oxenberg or people like that, who spoke to, because she used Rick Ross to help her. And there's one scene in the movie, I forget which one it was again, one of the movies about Nexium, where they documented it. And there's a point in time where Catherine's on the phone with her daughter, talking to her, and Catherine Oxenberg had Rick Ross with her, the cult expert. So there's all these things you need to know if you've got somebody, a loved one in a cult, and you're trying to get them out. You have to be careful. Like, of course, you can never say you're in a cult or you're brainwashed, because that'll shut them down. You can't use that. Um, which Catherine learned the hard way of dealing with her daughter. But also, it's like Rick Ross was like coaching her as she's talking to her daughter. He's like, ask her this, but don't ask it this way. Ask it like this, to get her daughter to open up. And then on the other end of the line was her daughter, India, and next to her was the cult leader, Keith Raniere, and he was talking to her. So it was really like a battle of the minds between, excuse me, between the Rick Ross, the cult expert, and the leader of this infamous cult, going through Catherine and her daughter, is really quite extraordinary. Like, I thought, it says this I find interesting. I find this kind of psychological drama is like fascinating, like real life. But I do get that these are the details the royal family should, William in particular, find out about or consult with, people like Rick Ross and others who are experts not only in mental illness, but this cult situation. Because they are dealing with a narcissist, triad like Megan, but they're also dealing with a potential cult experience and the psychotherapy. So there's an added layer to this, is that there's psychotherapy involved. Now, this is new to me because they didn't have a psychotherapist. They used NLP and hypnosis with Nexium. But if there's this could be like a psychotherapy kind of thing going on. What exactly is a psychotherapist doing? Is it hypnosis? Is it something else? This is what the royal family needs to know about. They need to know exactly what's going on as far as what's influencing, what they're doing to influence Harry here. Yeah, they need to know exactly what the details are of the influence here. And I do believe, like Harry said, William wanted to attend one of his psychotherapy sessions to find out what was going on, like what they were doing. So that could be a start. So that's what William was doing. He's trying to figure this out. So perhaps he needs to book an appointment with Harry's therapist to say, hey, Harry, I'd really like to talk to your therapist. Maybe I could use some help, and go and find out what the F is going on. So that's like one thing I'm thinking of. But they need to get to the bottom of exactly what is going on there with that, for sure. And talking to the experts and really getting into the details there, because there's a lot going on and it's really messed up. And it's undercover, and yeah, there's a lack of knowledge and awareness of exactly what's controlling Harry, is what I'm getting at here with it reversed. So other people who are important to the situation, and we get Six of Pentacles reversed. So one of the first words I think of here is corruption, money making here. The little rat down there. There's Megan the rat. So yeah, we've got a situation where there's a lot of money, and Megan is obviously using. Um, Megan is using. You see the little rat looking up at the bird. The bird has the scales there. Megan is using, and her buddies there, her cult, are using Harry to make money. Right. This is about Megan getting power and money, and more money as much as she can. And also, this can pertain to Harry being involved in illegal financial dealings as well, money laundering. Who knows? They could be involved with drug cartels. They could be involved with who knows what. The borders are wide open. You've got a governor in Arizona who's paid off by the Sonora cartel. I mean, there's all kinds of things going on, and Harry and Meghan are no exception. There's some other criminal types and possible criminal dealings that involve Harry and around Harry that may also be a factor in this, is also a factor in this. So they got to be aware of that for sure, the criminal activities. And that might be an opportunity to save Harry, is maybe getting him in prison to get him arrested. Now let's see. So what do they not know? What's being hidden from them? I think a lot has been hidden from the royal family. I think the royal family hid the fact that Meghan wasn't really pregnant. They found out later on. We'll find out more details in due time, I'm sure. But there's a lot, I think, from the beginning that's been hidden from the royal family, even though they know a lot. And it still is being hidden as much as they can. So, what does the royal family not know about Harry and Meghan and their cult? King of Pentacles reversed. Whoa. Interesting, though, because this is the Harry card. So I think what they don't know is that Harry possibly is really getting ready to get out, is really not happy. I mean, he's obviously not happy, but he's not as either that Harry is worse than he appears, or that Harry really is wants to get out, and either consciously or unconsciously aware of that. Because, like I said, I do think that when he said, I need my father, I need my brother. I mean, Harry is, I think, there, some part of him still there and is not happy, yeah, with the situation. Even though publicly he has to act like everything's great. We're happy. We've never been happier. Everything's wonderful. In reality, he's just saying whatever Megan tells him to say. But I don't think he's happy, and he's more unhappy than they realize. And not just angry about things, but he's not doing well. So I think he's worse than they realize, is what I'm getting at. They don't even realize how bad he is. Hopes and dreams, or what their goals, the royal family with Harry, what are they hoping for with the situation? Ooh, judgment reversed. Judgment reversed. Well, I'm not very hopeful here. And of course, they're feeling judged naturally, and I think they're not optimistic in, you know, being able to save Harry from this situation. I mean, Megan's got him in there for good. They got kids, they got property. She's got him by the short and curlies. She's got complete control of him. She's got a team of people behind her to help her control him. Um, Judgment, of course, I mean, they've been going to court aggressively, suing anyone and everyone. So I think they're hoping possibly that, maybe they could get, some kind of legal repercussions for them. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not getting, they're not feeling hopeful that there's going to be a new start here, or that they're going to be successful with getting Harry. What will happen if they take correct action in getting Harry out? Two of Cups reversed. I think they can split them up. I think that it is possible to separate Harry and Meghan. I think as time goes on, um, it's getting more and more difficult for Meghan to keep control of him, and she's sick of him. He's sick of her, like any other relationship, particularly a toxic one like this. I do think that the royal family could help split them up faster. Yeah. And what would the results of that be if they succeeded in that? Eight of Cups. Yes, so they could get him to leave the royal family, but even so, I think that he would go and move off to Africa or something, or go take more trips to the South Pole, and he would still be very distant from the family. Uh, and I think that, um, but they could get him to move on. They could get Harry to move on from the situation. It is possible. I don't think Harry's happy at all there for multiple reasons. Even if Megan weren't brainwashing him with the psychotherapy and all the control, just being homesick is enough to, get Harry sick of being, the situation anyway. So this way too much working against, even though it does appear like a cultist situation. It is. But Harry is getting unhappier and unhappier with time. So, what would the royal family, okay, secret enemies, or what sacrifices would the royal family have to make here? Wheel of Fortune. Yeah. Well, I get that, major arcana here. So they have a lot of secret enemies, no doubt. And Wheel of Fortune is sort of letting things that happen out of your control. And I'm getting here that in order to get Harry back, the royal family is going to have to take more control and not just let things happen the way they have been. Um, yeah. And I think Prince William's going to have to step up a lot more and get more directly involved. And you know what? I think that they're going to have to. I know that Meghan and Harry are pushing them to respond, and they expect and take advantage. Meghan has made it an art form of taking advantage of the fact that they're not going to respond. But with what they need the courage to do with the strength reversed, is I do think the royal family has to, with Harry particularly, they have to take the gloves off and start, you know, doing what they do. They're gonna have to give them, s- you know, throw back at them and correct their lies directly and speak out and not be silent about it anymore. And they need to fling back onto them what they've flung on them. They're gonna have to play a little dirty here, and it's gonna maybe undignified a little bit to them because they are always, not complaining, not explaining. But in this particular situation with Harry, they need to have a taste of their own medicine. That's the and William needs to do it. And it'll be but they do need to step it up quite a bit. But they should as well talk to experts, like I said beforehand. So not just, you know, saying whatever, but talking to getting they don't understand the exact situation Harry's in, how bad it is, and they need to talk to someone. And like for example, uh one way of is playing the victim like they do, right? If Prince William, for example, made a teary-eyed interview, I'm not saying, all right, maybe not acting or anything, but a sincere sounding interview with appropriately, like, saying the things in an appropriate way for Harry to accept and listen to, but pointing out what a victim he is of Harry and the situation, him and his wife, and the releases. Stories come out like the nanny came out and said Megan was taking pictures of Charlotte's nursery. It has to come directly from William and Catherine, particularly William, and they have to say, this is what happened. We caught Megan taking pictures. Megan was feeding things to the press. She's taken advantage of us from day one. She's been exploiting us. They need to just come out and call and put it out there. They, even though things are going to get out of control as a situation with strength reversed, it would get really crazy for a little while. At the end of the day, people don't really care. So, people know already, but also they need to I think stop um, break the code of for a little for just for this particular situation replying to it. you know, because I know don't complain, don't explain. That's mainly for other people. But if they want to reach Harry and they want Harry back and they want to save him from the situation, because he's a mess, he's a lot worse than they realize. Um, and they can't use the court system to, lock him up. I mean, that is an alternative is trying to do that, but that's not going to work long term. And that's the best way I think is for them to change up the game. Is what I'm getting from this reading is to have the courage to allow the situation to get a little out of control in the media, to get things a little crazy. Because Harry and Meghan have already made it crazier than need be. I think that that might be one. But like I said, they need to talk to experts about, experts of psychology, narcissism, and whatever the psychotherapy is that he's under, that whatever that influence is exactly that he's under. They need to understand that first, and then sort of fling it back at them a little bit, throw them off balance, and put them on the defensive. And um, yeah, and I think the most effective way would be if William and Catherine, for his family, said, we've been victimized here, and exposing the Fulani Ngozi and the Aisha. And all these other people who are part of that same network of Harry and Meghan, and exposing that a little bit as well. I think just exposing the criminality of it. Um, perhaps they're under threat and can't do that or something. But I think that they need to fight a little dirty here. They need to, um, when fighting for Harry, they're going to need to get into the mud a little bit in this particular case to get their brother, to get him back and out of this, is what it looks like to me. So altogether, we're getting pentacles, wands, King of Cups, strength, swords, pentacles. So of all the things they can do and what they have to work with, it's going to be more mental, detailed, working, and keep trying, not stopping, even though it seems, helpless to get him back. And then they could get so they're not going to um, be able to do this by being nice, or be able to get Harry's emotionally to sympathize. In order to break the spell that he's under, or the influence, it's going to take action, wands, and a little bit of William, I think, but also being emotionally strong. But it's got to take more knowledge. They don't and of tactics in dealing with a situation, mentally, very carefully, more than anything. So appealing to their emotions are not going to work. Harry's emotions. It's going to have to be being strategic and putting out certain information and phrasing things and talking to him in certain ways to reach him and sort of break the mental spell he's under control. Yeah, and then they'll have some sort of happiness. It's not going to be, the happiest. The most they can hope for, I think, is splitting them up and getting Harry to move away. Um, it's not like Harry's going to suddenly wake up and realize, I made a huge mistake. I want to come home. I love you. Happy ending, big party. No, it's not going to end up that way. What's going to end up is what I'm getting, the best they can hope for at this point is to get Harry to use strategy and help with experts to reach him enough that he's wakes up enough, because there is still a part of him that wants out, to get Harry to leave, or Meghan, or split them up, and then Harry to move on to something else, somewhere else, and to heal, because he's going to take years and years to wrap his head and to figure out what happened, how did this happen, and to get the healing that he needs. And he's probably going to need to do it somewhere else, like away from everything for a while. away from the royal family work and also away from Megan and her gang. Yeah. But it's gonna have to get messy first. They're gonna have to gird their loins and get a little mud on their shoes, even if they don't want to jump into the pig pen with Megan and her gang. They are gonna have to play a little dirty here and get a little dirty and let things get a little wild. And hey, it's been wild enough already, so that's what I'm seeing here. That's what I'm seeing here. And the key to it all, I'm telling you, is William. Well, at the end of the day, it's on him. He is the one who can get this all done. Him and his father. I mean, King of Cups, of course, can be King Charles as well, but I think it's William and Charles together, the two of them. Uh, but particularly William, I think, is going to be key in getting this show on the road and getting Harry out of this cult. Cult of Megan and the gang. Wow. All right, so that is what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this. If so, please like and subscribe. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye bye.